Hey, YouTube again. Good morning. Good morning. My name is Coach Lacy. Welcome to Rise and Shine with Morning Moon and Wellness with Watson. Make sure to ding that bell and subscribe for updates if you haven't already. If you're not in the group Rise and Shine with Wellness with, oh my God, I am having a day. Holy crap, I am having a day, you guys. I'm having a week. I don't know what's up with me, but I can't talk for some reason. I can't record. I can't have a train of thought. I am like, you're seeing it. It's real. This shit is real. Girl is like needs to been late on all my videos this week. Like this is some raw shit. Like I am just my brain. I don't know. I need a break. I haven't had a day off, like a real, I mean, I'm blessed. I have this beautiful business that I can kind of have slow mornings and stuff, but I haven't had like a day where I don't do anything for quite a long time, and I think I need that. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm gonna hit record. If you're watching the replay, you can fast forward to about a minute if you need to actually hear the message, or you can just watch me being silly. It's raw and real over here at Wellness with Watson. Um, I am gonna get started now, so I'm gonna press record. I think I'm live streaming. Okay, you're gonna see the real me though. Hi, this is me. I'm a shit show today. Oof. Okay, breathe. We're gonna breathe, everyone. Sometimes it's hard when you make commitments and like you have a train of thought. I want to come to you guys with a good word, and I've been really thinking about what I'm talking about today, deeply and lately a lot. And I need to deliver this message. So I'm gonna take a breath and hit record, and we're gonna do this, okay? You're seeing me live on YouTube. I'm not even gonna delete this. Only you YouTube people will see this shit. But I'm gonna hit record, and this is gonna go everywhere else. Okay. Breathing. It's Thursday. We're in record. Okay. All right. Good morning. Welcome to Rise and Shine. My name is Lacy, and this is Rise and Shine with Morning Moon. And if you're watching, this is Wellness with Watson, or you found me on social media, be sure to hit the subscribe button, follow button, wherever you're at, whether you're watching me from YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, wherever, make sure to follow. And if you're not in the Rise and Shine with Morning Moon group already, be sure to join on Facebook so you can anchor in every day with the Foundations of Wellness Foundations checklist. Whew. It is Thursday. Good afternoon. And we are going a little deeper today, talking about change. I'm trying to recalibrate and kind of get myself together. I have had many different medical appointments this week, and so you may have noticed that I'm a little later to the game with the show. And I apologize for that. If you've been waiting for me this morning, I don't have a really good excuse other than I need to kind of get my shit together when it comes to appointments because sometimes life gets a lot, right? And so that's really what we're talking about is making changes today and changing patterns and changing behaviors and how to show up authentically in a way that isn't detrimental to you and everyone else around you. And the thing I've been thinking about a lot lately that really baffles me on both sides is growth and change and and people in your life, even myself, people's ability to become renewed or the inability to become renewed, how people just stay exactly the same. Sometimes people just stay kind of exactly the same. And that is wild, right? That's a little wild to think about when people don't recognize their own patterns and make changes and they just get stuck in that. And it's kind of like sitting in your shitty diaper and crying about it. My mom always has these really wonderful euphemisms, and one of them is don't sit in your shitty diaper and just cry about it, change it. And so when you're in a like a rut, or when you are going through life and you keep repeating the same mistakes and these old patterns, you're really, it's the equation of sitting in your shitty diaper and complaining about it. And people just tend to stay the same and in their patterns, and they don't do a pattern interrupt and say, hey, maybe I can do this differently, or maybe I can think about this differently, or maybe if I get some input here and try this new thing, then we can tackle this a different way, and growing and changing. I know people from that I've known for a really long time, since my early 20s, who are exactly the same. They listen to the same music, they still go to the same parties, they still like all the same shows, they still like all the same things, they still dress the same. And it blows my mind, because it's like, how could you be so limiting in your limiting of who you are and your identity to just stay the same? Like, we should all strive to grow into a better version of ourselves. And maybe that means accentuating those things that you love and becoming just that, more of that. But there's always something that you can add in and become more of. And um, change isn't like slapping on a fresh coat of paint. Real change is like, it's like the kind that just strips you down to the bare bones, right? It just leaves you raw and honest and ready to become who you were really just always meant to be, and accentuates the best parts of yourself. And it's not always pretty, and it's definitely not fucking comfortable. If you are not, if you're actually growing and changing, that's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be severely uncomfortable. It's going to be inconvenient. It will ruin your plans, ruin your life, like get in the way of shit. But really, you have to recognize that growth and comfort are not simultaneous. They cannot coexist, and change is like making big changes and pattern interruption. That is how you get connected to the spirit. That is really the essence of life. And that is how we um get to that next level. And in my life, I have had some wild challenges and some heartbreaking moments, and adversity in which that I've had to overcome, and I've lived it, and I've lived those changes, and I didn't like it, and it was really uncomfortable, and there was a lot of times where I was like, is it even gonna work? Like, there are times where I've really didn't even want to be on this earth, or like want to be doing what I'm doing, but I had to lean into that, and I had to challenge myself and make a change over and over again. I had to change who I was over and over and over again. Like, I remember the first major transformation I made was in college. Like, of course, I had these little transformations until then. But in college, in my early 20s, when I found naturopathic medicine, I really changed the core of who I was, because to I showed up to this work study job as a gothic. I mean, I think I had like 22 piercings. I had like all my ears were pierced. I had my nose, my tongue, I had my lip, I had my eyebrow. I had all these piercings. Like, I had literally 11 piercings in my ears. I had like everything. Like, and I was smoking Marlboro Reds. I did any drug that you'd give me, drink, whatever. I didn't give a shit what I was eating or drinking. I would eat fast food. I remember filling out a food journal, and I had eaten, fast food for breakfast, fast food for lunch, fast food for dinner. I was constantly eating fast food, or gas station food, quick meals, microwave meals, all this stuff. And I remember naturopathic medicine changing me at the core, because I'm a very logical person, and on some level, I mean, I'm very whimsical and mystical on another level, and irrational in some sense, but in another sense, I'm very scientific, and I'm very logical, and I want to know why. Like, I really want to know why. I want to see the science behind it, and I want to know why. And so when I started learning about naturopathic medicine and herbalism and diet, and food and food's impact on your health, I couldn't ignore that. I couldn't ignore any of that. And I quit smoking. I remember I quit smoking cigarettes. I quit eating fast food completely. I have not eaten fast food. My God, I don't even remember the last time I had actual fast food. I mean, the closest I've gotten, I have had taco time, but that's like, and maybe in a pinch, I've had like, um, you know, fries from like Wendy's or like maybe a Frosty, but I think that were the baked potato. I have like not had fast food forever. And it's just because I knew the difference, right? And it changed me. So it changed me. Naturopathic medicine, knowing, it changed me. So I used to show up as the girl that was eating like in trash, like a trash panda, smoking cigarettes all the time, gothic, da 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 da. And it literally changed me overnight. I became like, like a granola hippie overnight, basically. I mean, really. And that was my first example of change. Life demanded it of me. It literally, my job demanded that I changed. It wasn't really because I wanted to, but the knowing, and that was a positive change. And then consequently negative changes, like when my brother died, death changed me forever. And it wasn't a change that I wanted. It wasn't a change that I asked for. It wasn't a change that I anticipated, but it happened and it changed me. And there's a knowing that comes with that, and I had times too, then even after death, where depression and challenges and drug abuse and once again have challenged me and changed me, and then the knowing comes back around, and I changed because I had to. It wasn't because I wanted to, but it was because life required it of me, and then when like Faye came to live with us, I changed again because she needed it. She needed me to become the mom and not the friend, and it was required. And then when my husband got sick, it changed me. I had to show up in a different way and put more faith in God. And I was required to anchor into my faith in order to be okay in this storm that I'm going through with my husband's health. If you have ever been faced with losing the one that you love, like permanent, like through death, like through sickness, that like that takes a massive amount of faith to really get you through that. And that's where I became renewed in the spirit, right? Like I'm outgrowing my old self, I had to, but I didn't always know who I'm becoming, right? And there's this space in between, and that's holy ground, that space in between. It's like the wilderness. It's where the divine design is forged, and your identity is becoming, and you feel like you're in suspended animation and you just have no idea, and all you have is your faith, right? And people aren't always going to understand that. Like people around you, they're not going to understand you changing. You might be out here, living your best life, finally freeing yourself from these chains and these, generational curses and these patterns, and maybe you're finally interrupting these patterns. Like for us, my husband and I are finally interrupting these patterns of partying, right? Like these party patterns. We've had these party patterns forever, and we finally like are done with the party pattern. And people around us, some of our old friends don't understand it. They're like, you've changed, you're not as fun anymore. You're not as cool anymore. You guys are different, what do like, you're lame, you go to church, oh, you're part of cults. Like there's always judgments and stuff, and whispers on either side. Even inside the churches, we attend two different churches, and both sides talk crap about the other, and it's like, we just roll our, it's like it's their walk, not ours, and our walk is different, and everywhere you go you're gonna have people criticize you. So just thank God for your walk, and thank God that you should be changing, and that you are changing, and that you are leaning in. And we should be renewed. We should become somebody better than what we were before. You know, like what's the point otherwise? If you're not changing, then you're probably clinging on to some old identity that that doesn't serve you anymore. That's not meant for you anymore. Like when you're in the thick of it and when everything is like uncertain and chaotic and upside down, you're like, what in the, like what do we do? Right? Like what do we do? Right? How does change actually happen? How do we change? If you're in the thick of the moment and things are happening and there's overwhelming and you're like, well, how do I actually make this change? And how do I become a new identity and drop all that? What do you do? How do you do it? How do you change? There's some of the the most profitable industry is weight loss, and that's essentially transformation, people wanting to change. So then how do we change in the chaos and in the calm and with the new information? How do we change? It's the same thing I'm always going to say. We anchor into our foundations. We build that strong foundation so that we have something to stand on so that we can change, right? We stay grounded in what we can control, our controllables. Remember our controllables. We can only control our controllables. We can control our prayers. We can control our faith. We control our habits. We control how we show up, how we talk to ourselves, how we talk to others, you know, and how you renew your mind with truth and light and in speaking truth and light, even when you don't feel that way. That's why we renew our spirit with like motivational speakings, devotionals, Bible study. This is why we read the Bible. This is why we listen to motivational content. This is why we feed ourselves with the positive word of the Spirit, is so that we have something to draw from when we don't have anything. And when there's nothing left, we have something to anchor into. We have the knowing and the knowledge. Like with me, with naturopathic medicine, that was the knowing. I found God I found God again through my love of naturopathic medicine and medicine in the knowing, like just through trying to help my husband get healthy and um knowing that God has provided these natural ways and pattern interruptions that we can implement to be healthy and building that foundation. Everything for me is about my wellness foundation, everything, and anchoring in. Like it just always goes back to that. If you can go back to your foundations and anchor in and renew your mind with truth, even when you don't feel it, even when you have no idea, that will be the pattern interruption, right? And if you're trying to change without any assistance from God and the divine, it's going to break you. You won't have anything to draw from. What do you have to draw from? If all you have is theory from, other people, what do you have to draw from? So make sure that you're anchoring in with faith and with good, true content that like we use the Bible to help renew our mind because these are timeless truths that have been proven. Like whether or not you believe the story of Jesus, or whether or not whatever your opinion may be, the fact of the matter is, all the quotes, all the great teachings, all of the greatest motivational speakings, all of those, that thought process and that pattern of thinking, that the source is the biblical texts and like the Psalms. Start with the Psalms and the Proverbs. You don't even have to believe, you can just read and know and renew in your mind the knowing, right? Because change without God, or without, divine intervention, it breaks you. But with God and with the holding and the divine intervention, it will remake you. You have to have some sort of foundation. You did not create yourself. This is where it all comes back to. You did not create yourself. You did not write your own story. It's already been written. You are the storyteller. You are not the author. There's a big fucking difference. Pardon my French for those of you who have problems with cursing, but like I live in the duality of life, and that's me. And I'm always going to be a little dark and a little light, right? A little salt, a little spice. Like it's just who I am. And that's my identity. And that's because I've been remade through Christ, and I've been remade but I have the voice to be able to talk to those who haven't, because I've been there. And so that's my role, right? And if you don't know where to start, a good place, my favorite book, besides, well, actually my favorite book in the Bible is Romans. The book of Romans is my absolute hands down favorite book in the Bible. And one of my favorite verses is Romans 12:22. And that's be transformed by the renewing of your mind. We can only really change when it starts up here in the pattern interruptions of our thoughts. We can't change through our wardrobe. It doesn't matter what you're fucking wearing, your hair, your Instagram, your job title. None of that. None of that's going to make any difference. I could cut everything off and say that I am, a man tomorrow, and it's not going to make a lick of difference if I haven't dealt with what's in here or in my head and my heart. Like what I look like, my point is what I look like matters not if it's not in alignment with my head and my heart, and I'm equipped with words of the Spirit that are beyond me. There's so much bigger. There's so much more than us. There's a calling on your life. It's a divine design. There's so much more. There's something bigger than ourselves. So lean into that, because what you believe is what you become, quite literally, and the renewing of your mind isn't just about giving you better thoughts. It's giving you discernment and conviction and vision and peace. And it doesn't make sense to everybody. That's the thing, is it won't make sense to everyone, but that's how you know that it's divine, and that's part of the divine design. So be honest, be honest with yourselves and with others. But you can't be honest with yourself of where you're at, and that if you have one foot in the door of your old life and one foot out, like the door is half open, you're not going to be able to fully express who your new person is. You're still shackled to who you were. Some people are still dragging those old backpacks full of guilt and shame and habits into these new seasons of life and wondering why nothing's different. That's like trying to go up to the top of the mountain with a bag full of rocks. Like, it's not going to happen. Take some of those rocks out and keep what nourishes you. It nourishes you and get you up to the top of the mountain. Keep your controllables, right? Your nourishing food, your water, all the things that are going to get you up the mountain, and take all the other shit out because it's not serving you. And look, I struggle with bad habits too. I've got my things. I battle it. I'm not perfect. None of us are, but at least I'm conscious and aware of those patterns, and I do my best to break them. So, don't punish yourself for what you're doing today that you could stop doing tomorrow. Don't resist the healing. Don't ignore the call. This is me saying, lean in, make a change. Some of you are afraid to change or afraid to make a difference because you're afraid of losing the people around you. But I will lovingly tell you that if someone leaves you and, cuts you out of their life for becoming a healthier, clearer, wiser, and stronger version of yourselves, bye, and just continue to do you, and maybe you might inspire them in the long term. I've had friends who have just cut me out of their life completely, and we're still friends on Facebook, and they treat me like I'm a pariah. There's something wrong with me, but I see them going to the gym every day and I see them going to the gym every day and eating better and doing these things they used to make fun of me for, and maybe one day they'll, decide that renewing their mind is the way to go too. Who knows? I pray for them every day. But I have people make fun of me for stuff, and then later on they're doing it. So just do you, and change is gradual. You don't have to be perfect to be progressing, right? And sometimes I look at my own self and I think to myself, God, I thought I was past that shit. Like, I thought we were done doing this, Lacy. But then I remember that change is not linear, and it's not like one size fits all. It's not just like you know, it's not gonna be straightforward. Nothing's fucking straightforward. Everything is a spiral. Everything is a spiral. Everything is a rabbit hole. Everything is a spiral staircase. It's just life, we revisit the lessons until they're fully integrated. And that's not failure. That's being refined. It's being renewed. And change doesn't always like happen quickly. It's not like a lightning bolt moment. Most of the time it's quiet and subtle and it's slow and it has you take a pause before reacting, you know? It's those moments where you're saying no to things that don't serve your peace, right? It's those moments where you have a pattern interruption and you make a different choice. That's maturity and that is change. And more of that will create sustainable transformation. It's not about perfection. It's just about perspective, and choose peace over being right. Own your triggers, and being less reactive and more grounded, So you are allowed to outgrow those old versions of yourself. I'm giving you permission. Give yourself permission. Give yourself permission. Let go of that unhealed version of yourself, Wish her luck. Love you. Love you. Bye. Thanks for all the lessons, and get excited about becoming someone new and being renewed. Even if it's scary, do it afraid, you know? But you don't have to do it alone. You don't have to do it alone. Invite God in. Invite God in. Invite the Holy Spirit. Invite the divine design. You didn't create yourself. And if you're just not there yet, okay, it's all right. Baby steps, one bite, one breath, one step at a time, as one of my old mentors used to say. We don't need more people pretending like they're fine and pretending like they're okay just the way they are, and they're not changing. We need more people that are willing to step up to the plate and be willing to transform and be willing to become renewed and become a new version of themselves and really mean that and really want to and set that shit down. And like, if you're in your 40s and your 50s, maybe it might be time to quit focusing on fucking partying. Hey guys, millennials, talking to you. The party life has been great. But there's so much more. We can serve others. What can you do for someone else today? So I'm challenging you right now. If you are like me and you've been, living the party life for most of your life, for most of your adult life, that is, um, do yourself a favor and anchor in and try to serve something beside yourself. And, you know that this is a process. And if you're in the place right now where you're making a change and you're becoming renewed, just know that it's wobbly. You're going to have bad days. Everybody has those bad days, but that's okay. You are right on time. You're right where you're supposed to be, and you are never alone. And if you ever need someone to hold your hand, reach out. I have wellness programs available. I do one-on-one sessions. I have group coaching programs. I have all sorts of programs that I would love to assist you. One of my greatest passions in this world is to help people become renewed in their health, their mind, and their business. If you're not healthy in your mind and your spirit, your business will suffer. So if you're an entrepreneur and you're watching this today, I invite you to reach out, have a conversation with me. If you're struggling right now, I would love to help you and help you get on a path to renewal and helping you fix those little patterns that are interrupting you in your business. I hope that you have a wonderful Thursday, and I will see you tomorrow. Try to be on time. This week's been a little rough. Thanks for hanging in with me, you guys. I have some stuff coming up that if you want to come and visit me in Wenatchee, I will be at the Pybus Public Market on Saturday selling my freshies if you're local. Or you can go to one of our workshops at the Humble Bee Motion Studio Collective. We have a free Tai Chi workshop at 9 a.m. So visit humblebeecollective.com to learn more about that. And I would love to get to know some of you guys. So keep rising, keep shining, and make sure to anchor in. Have a wonderful Thursday. I will see you tomorrow. Ciao.